everyone, GeneralApple here with the House in Fata Morgana playthrough part 10. And last time we stopped immediately after finishing Act 3, and it was a pretty sad one. It took me actually a week to get my bearings and recover emotionally from that because the ending was so sad. Like, I honestly couldn't take it. It was so sad. But now I have, I put myself back together and I'm ready to start the act number 4. And hopefully it will be a good one. So let's just dive right into it. Surely it will have a happy ending. I'm sure of it. I'm positive. Okay, here we go. The door before you slowly drew shut. You could no longer hear the raucous sounds of the men from within the den. The faint scent of cigarette smoke, however, lingered in the air. Staring vaguely at the closed door, you noticed something was amiss. The maid, who had been holding your hand, was no longer at your side. You glanced around, but she was nowhere in sight. Down the corridor stretched only darkness. Not having anticipated this, you are unsure how to react. What's the matter? You lost, or you just trying to take in the sights? A voice called out to you, but it was not the maiden voice. Caught off guard, you spun around, confused, and searched for the source. Where are you looking? I'm over here. Yeah, there you go. A little more to the left. Following the voice instruction, you find yourself facing a wall. Is that a mirror? You look like you've just seen a ghost. Hey now, come on, don't turn away. Yep, you got it. I'm the one talking to you. The voice was coming from within the painting. Oh, it's a painting. When you had passed by this wall on your way to the third door, a magnificent landscape painting had been hanging there. But now the canvas was a deep shade of black, as if it had been dipped into a vat of ink. Been a while since I've talked to anyone. So tell me, you can hear me all right, can't you? Splendid. Been so long since I've had a conversation. I was afraid I might have forgotten how to talk. So tell me, who might you be? You don't know? Well, isn't that quite a pickle? Then, how about we have a little chat, eh? You got yourself turned around and aren't sure where to go, yeah? Well, I'll be happy to tell you anything I can. Just ask away. The painting sounded rather high-spirited. Perhaps he was simply excited to have the opportunity to speak with someone. So you decide you would ask the painting a few questions. Oh, now I get to choose. Okay, that's cool. Who are you? Who am I? What is this place? Who is the maid? Oh, I wonder if I can ask everything. I guess I'll go for the most important part in case I can. I almost want to say who am I, but I know this is like a bait question. He won't answer that. What is the place, or who are you, or the one I'm more interested in? I do interested in maid though. I guess let's go for who are you. No, I don't think you will. Okay, let's go for who are you. The simplest one. Me? Well, as you can see, I'm a painting. Why did I end up as a painting? Hard to say. Maybe I was reborn as a painting because I used to really like art. Though there are things I painted that I wish I hadn't. Maybe that regret what turned me into this. Hopefully, I get the chance to apologize to him about that. Anywho, no point in getting into any more detail than that. Wouldn't mean anything to you, so enough about me. Alright, you don't know anything about yourself. A shame that. Alright then. A favor for you, since you can't tell me about yourself. If you run into him, could you tell him I really regret what I did? I know I should tell him myself, but, well, as you can see, I'm stuck here. Can't move an inch, so I've gotta ask for help. I feel absolutely terrible about painting that picture. I know, yeah, the deadline way passed on that one. But that's what makes it regret. Yeah? Because you can't take it back. By the time I'd realized it was too late, he was already dead. He's long since passed away. Okay, so I remember a painting in the first act, and I remember a painting in the third act she found in a basement. Maybe he has some relations to that? Huh. How are you supposed to give a dead fellow a message? Well, for all you know, the dead could be wandering these halls too. So please, if you come across him, tell him I said that. That I didn't mean any harm with that painting. Or maybe you are him? Oh no. Oh, okay, so we can ask everything. Good. Let's go with who am I? Just because you don't know who you are doesn't mean you can go around asking other people. I'm not a person, you say. Well, you're right, but I'm not gonna know anything about you that you can tell me yourself. I mean, from where I'm standing, you look almost like a walking cloud of shadow. That's interesting. Wow. I can't even tell you what you look like. The maid who was with you before, did she call you Master? I see. But the question is, which era Master are you? How many doors have you been through? 3 doors. And those, did any of them bring you back? Anything back? Ah, well, it's not an easy thing, recovering yourself. Or maybe you weren't behind any of those 3 doors. Yeah, that's gotta be it. That was your first time witnessing those tragedies. Yours is another door. So tell me, how did you feel looking behind these doors? Was it frightening, saddening, heart-wrenching? Well, let me tell you something. You were able to bear them because they weren't your tragedies. If the next door you open is yours, will you be able to bear it? Will you be able to accept your own tragedy? It's one thing seeing others suffering, but your own. If you have to face emotion you want to keep buried, secrets you want to keep hidden away, and pain you want to forget, do you think you'll be able to accept them as your own? If you can't, I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't accuse you of running if you chose not to reclaim your old self. Nothing wrong with erasing your memory of something if it was so bad you didn't want to face it in the first place. Let it be rewritten as someone else's story. That'll make a whole lot easier on you, cause you never know, the most unfortunate tale of all may well be your own. Or perhaps that goes for everything about you. You won't know till you see it. Well, that's true enough. But once you do, there might not be any turning back. Or do you mean to reclaim your old self no matter the cost? If you do, if you're sincerely prepared to do that, then be wary of the tale that comes next. Any tragedy that seems too beautiful to be real is precisely that, a fabrication. If it turns out you're someone from behind the next door, then perhaps you're my... Oh my god. So, I think I was right. I think the last door is the final one. It seems like we're drawing close to an end here. Okay. What is this place? Oof. Talk about some hard-hitting questions. I'm probably not the one who will be able to answer that for you. I don't have a very deep connection with this mansion, you see? I swear it, I got nothing to gain from lying, do I? It's my regrets that turned me into this. I wasn't summoned here by no one. That said, there is one thing I can tell you. This place summons people. People who have ties to something that happened long, long ago. No one knows anything even happened. I didn't know either, till she told me. Though I haven't the foggiest how much of it's true or not. Are you here because you were summoned by her? Or did you come here of your own will to find someone? If you came here on your own volition and you weren't summoned by her, then mayhaps you'll be the one who can break. Man, this raised way more question than answer. Like, they did nothing, man. Shame on dissipating. Who is the maid? Might as well ask her that directly, but she won't say it till you've gained your own self. I see. Well, in that case, if you want to know, you know what you gotta do. It's entirely up to you whether you make an ally or an enemy out of her. There's no guaranteeing she even right in the head. You never know. Maybe you're not the only one who hasn't found himself. Haven't talked that much in a long time. Feel great. And now that I've got that out of my system, I should be able to get some good sleep. You're probably still wandering in the dark right now, but I really hope you find the outcome you want. And I mean that. You can either reclaim your old self, or you can toss it aside. The choice is yours, either way. Now, since it looks like your escort isn't showing up, what do you plan to do next? How about taking a look around the place since you've got a little free time? Could be you come across some things you wouldn't with her around. Alright, if you're gonna go exploring, I've got the perfect thing. Stick your hand into the canvas, would you? The painting was still wrapped in an impenetrable darkness, a perfect, all-consuming void. The man had told you to put your hand into it. You reached into the frame, refused. Of course, we will reach our hand into the frame. You extended your hand for the painting. The moment your fingertips brushed against the darkness, it swallowed your entire hand up to the wrist. No, not there. That tickles, a little to the right. As the man in the painting had instructed, you groped around the inside of the darkness. You groped around. Before long, you felt something hard at your fingertips. Clenching the objects, you withdrew your hand. Your arm was still intact. You spread your fingers, and there you found a key. Wow. That tickled. With that key, you can access the master bedroom. A while back, she tossed it into me. The damn little bug. So yeah, it ain't mine. Don't worry about giving it back. However, I bet there's something worth seeing in there. If she felt the need to toss that key. Alright, well, I'm gonna get some sleep. You take care. If you happen to learn my name, come pay me another visit, should a fancy strike you. Having said that, the painting fell quiet. In your hand lay a small key. It seems rather antique and vaguely familiar. Silence once again drew over the corridor. You stood there all alone, no sign of the maid. After considering it for a few moments, you decided to explore the mansion on your own. Oh! Wow, okay. That's a lot of choices. Sure. I'll guess, let's see. Go to the entrance, go to the fireplace, go to the den. Well, you know what? Let me actually save before I decide to do anything rash. Let's, I guess, go to the entrance first. We can always go back because I have a saving point. You made your way to the mansion entrance. There was no one around, nor any source of light. Groping through the darkness, you found the front door, which was sealed shut with a heavy bar. You pressed against the bar, but it remained firmly in place. The door did not budge either. It seems you could not leave the mansion. Burn the witch. Crucify the impure. When you made to step away from the entrance, you heard a muffled voice. You looked around, but unable to determine the source of the voice, nor could you be sure whom you heard either. Giving up on finding anything at the entrance, you decide to head somewhere else. Go to the fireplace. You made your way to the room with the fireplace. What remained of the fire crackled weakly, leaving the room in a veil of darkness. You remembered that you had awoken here. Out of sheer curiosity, you sat down in the rocking chair you had been asleep in. Creak, creak, creak. It was as soothing as a cradle to a baby, and in a short order you found your consciousness drifting from your grasp. I fell asleep. Reading a story by the fireplace like this almost makes it feel like we're in another world, doesn't it, Master? I bet that's why troubadours perform at pubs, so they can be near the fire. Oh, you're such a cynic. But that's okay. Do you remember when I first arrived here? When I was cleaning the library? I thought it was the maid. Your eyes slowly slid open. Fragments of pleasant dream lingered in the back of your mind. The crackling of fire, the taste of warm wine. However, there was nothing pleasant about the fireplace sitting before you. No warm, crackling flames. In fact, the brisk air of the room overpowered the remnants of ember left there. A chill ran down your spine, afraid you might freeze stiff if you stayed there much longer. You resumed your exploration of the mansion. Wow, that was interesting. Let me actually read it another time. Reading story by the phone. Reading a story by the fireplace like this almost makes me feel like we're in another world, doesn't it, master? So, it was an old memory of mine? Huh. Interesting. Do you remember when I first arrived here when I was cleaning the library? Is this the white-haired girl? Okay. That's good. Let's keep this in mind. And go to the den. That's interesting. We're starting to get a little bits of lore here. Oh. It's this place. Ah, man, I'm still so torn up. The scent of cigarette smoke lingered in the den. However, the room was silent. Not even an echo of the men chattering remained. Something was moving. Billiard ball. There was no one present to strike the balls. They rolled spontaneously around the table. The path they traced across the surface was rough and erratic, contrasting that of when the former master had held the cue. The spheres collided awkwardly with one another, not a single one coming close to the pockets. As an experiment, you pulled the ball off the table. In response, the path of the ball became even clumsier. Having lost one of their targets, they began bouncing aimlessly off the cushioned walls of the table. As you stared intently at the table, a man's voice rang out from somewhere in the room. Spinning around, you saw a silhouette of a man. However, you could not make out what the man was saying. The man thrust his finger at the table. He appeared to want you to return the ball. You reluctantly placed the billiards ball back on the table. When you did, the balls resumed endlessly colliding with one another, never landing in any of the pockets. You looked up to find the shadow gone. Having determined that the maid was not going to appear in the den, you exited the room, making your way back into the corridor. Was this Jacopo? His shadow of regret? Go outside to the rose garden, where we first was. That was the first door. Girl voice. Look, your head is covered in roses. Oh, you got petals on the book. Yeah, that's definitely the first one. This isn't mine, I can't afford to. Though you could hear the sound of children laughing, you could not see them. Regardless, the cheerful voices warm your heart. You decided to linger there in the garden for some time. Along with the children laugh, wafted a sweet fragrance. The wind blew, whisking flower petals up into the air. It was an enchanting sight. But after a while, the roses began to wilt. You could no longer hear the children's voices either. A young man stood alone in the withered rose garden. As you drew nearer, you called out to the youth, but the young man did not appear to notice you. He merely stood there, staring vacantly across the garden. The youth muttered something in a lifeless voice. This isn't what I wanted. I just wanted a normal, peaceful life. I can't bear being alone. I can't take this. Someone get me out of here. Oh God, tell me that I'm not the bad one here. You tried to call out to the young man several times, but he did not seem to hear you. He simply continued muttering to himself. Before long, the youth's shadow faded into nothing. Unable to bear the chilly air any longer, you stepped back into the mansion. Oh man, poor Mel, his ghost is trapped here. Oh my God. I really hope there will be answers. I really hope the ending is not like super vague and unfinished. I really hope there is a clear ending to this game. Because it was so good. It was like a 10 out of 10 game up until now. I really hope it will keep going. Go to the cellar. Oh god. Well, we know the beast is there. When you descended into the cellar, you heard a beast-like snarling. Along with it came a sour odor and the sound of ripping flesh. You could not see the beast, but it did not make it less unpleasant. You made to retreat from the cellar. Oh my god! Jesus Christ. Holy. Holy, okay. That got me unprepared. Oh my days. Okay. Totally didn't expect the jump scare. But before you could, a shadowy creature lunged at you. You reflexively squeezed your eyes shut. There he is, Yukimasa. After several moments, you opened your eyes again to find a silhouette of a man standing in the place of the beast. You and the shadow stared at one another for some time. You asked the shadow a question and the shadow responded. However, you had no idea what it said. The shadow seemed to be trying to communicate something to you, but trying to make sense of something you could not understand was pointless. Having no reason to remain in the cellar any longer, you made your way back upstairs. Yukimasa tried to speak with us. Shame on him. Go to the library. What will you find there? The smell of dusty books filled the air of the library. You approached a shelf to examine one of the books. Oh, and suddenly an avalanche of them came falling to the floor. You stared blankly at the mountain of books. They had fallen down on their own, but they showed no signs of putting themselves away. Since no one was there to do it, you began placing the book back on the shelf. 1, 2, 3, a dozen. And as soon as you had gotten them all back up, they came crashing back down again. You wished very much to implore of the maid assistance, but she did not appear to be in that area. Pretending you had not seen anything, you made your way back into the hallway. Go see the stained glass window. You approached the stained glass window. Wow. An array of pews was arranged facing the stained glass. There seemed to be an air of tranquility about the room. You sat down in one of the pews and stared quietly forward for some time. For a moment, you felt like you were on the verge of recalling something, but ultimately, the memory never managed to surface. The maid did not appear to be there. Where could she have gone? You decide to resume exploring the mansion. Go to the master bedroom. This one is on me, probably. Oh, the key. You inserted the key you had been given into the door in the key wall, and with a twist, the door opened. Oh god, here it comes. The master bedroom was shrouded in darkness, much like every other room in the mansion. It had evidently been left unused for some time. The air in the room was still and forlorn. Master. A voice seemed to ring out from somewhere. Come on, get up. Up with you. Master! Someone is... Ah! See? What did I tell you? It's so much nicer in here with a little light. Without warning, your whole world took on a bright, vivid colors. Light streamed through the window, illuminating a well-lit bedroom. A woman's silhouette stood before you. Wait a sec. Don't you hide under your bedspread? Get out of there. Oh, but master, you agreed that I could open the windows. Don't worry, I've put curtains up. If it gets too bright, you can draw them. Morning take the best parts of being outside and squeeze them all into the same few hours. You don't have to go outside in the sunlight for it either. Just listen to all the wonderful sounds. The joyous songs of the bird, the swaying of the trees, the rustling of leaves. You tried to call out to the silhouette, but did not respond. Reaching out for her, your hand simply passed through her body. It did not seem to be you that she was speaking to. Perhaps you were looking at a scene from another period of time. Am I being as pushy as I feel right now? Nah. I completely misjudged you. You're the exact opposite of what I thought you were. Let's see. I thought you were cold and cruel, heartless and incomprehensible. But I'm beginning to get a better idea. You try to put on airs, but you're really rather childish. You have a short temper, but can be surprisingly playful. Huh, what else? You have a pretty difficult personality too. No, hear me out here. That's not everything. You gave me a chance to talk and you listened intently. You can be kind of nice too. We agreed that would live together, not just in the same house, so we've got plenty of time to add more to the list. And I hope you can make your own list about me too. By the way, I have to say the music is incredible. I really like this track. It's beautiful. The piano is so calm and happy at the same time. I really like that. This is just the beginning after all. We've got a long time ahead of us. Plenty enough to get to know each other, no? Let's not waste any time then. What do you say we do something today that we haven't been able to do before? Where should we begin? Oh, I know. We can get this place cleaned up. Now that there's something actual light in here, we can see all sort of things we'd probably rather not, like dust all over the place. Interesting. Was it my past? When the moment's shadow faded away, the master bedroom transformed back into its old, dreary state. Master, can you say my name? You were unsure how to describe the urge welling up within your breast. You could not say her name. So this was the white-haired girl. Okay. You stood unmoving in the master bedroom for some time, but it did not appear anything else was going to happen, so you decided to head somewhere else. Go see the stained glass window. You returned to the room with the stained glass window. You had searched throughout the mansion but had no luck finding the maid. You felt somewhat tired, though you were not quite sure whether it was a physical exhaustion or otherwise. You had little interest in doing any more moving about. Taking a seat in one of the pews, you gazed up at the stained glass. Staring solemnly down back at you was the archangel said to weigh the souls of the deceased. Perhaps he was trying to weigh your soul. Call for the maid. Master. Oh, hello. Oh, there you are, master. You gave me quite a scare. After returning from the third door, you disappeared without a word. Oh my, it was I who disappeared? That was quite strange. I did not go anywhere, as far as I'm aware. Nevertheless, I'm glad to have found you. I would have been at complete loss for what to do if I had been separated from you yet again. I did indeed say that when you first arrived. I have been waiting for your return for a very long time. For centuries, as a matter of fact. That would make me a ghost then, you say? I am very much not a ghost. Would I be able to hold your hand if I were? Well, you kind of existed in 3 different time periods, so that is a bit sussy. Saying this, the maid took your hand. It was cold enough to send a shudder down your spine, and completely devoid of life. Though, as chilling as it may have been, you still took comfort in the feeling of her hand in yours. The maid looked down at you with gentle eyes. After a few moments of silence, she sat down beside you. The stained glass is quite beautiful, is it not? Every time I see it, it brings tranquility to my heart. A dreadful, deep-rooted curse afflicts this mansion. However, this room is the one exception. Can you feel the purity that hangs in the air, master? Yes. What is it, master? You're correct. The stained glass window had been shattered, and was not present in the time period of the previous tale. I wonder. Perhaps it is because the mansion we are is presently resides in a realm separate from the real world? We are in a world constructed from myriad memories and histories. I am sure that when you regain your old self, master, the mansion too shall be restored to its original state. So do try and remember, alright? Oh, yes. Where did you go in my absence, Master? I... I see. So you explored the mansion then? And did you find anything noteworthy? Memories? I'm not quite sure what do you mean. What do you mean? How peculiar. As a servant of this house, I pride myself in being aware of most everything present within these walls. I wonder whose memories they could be. The key to the master bedroom. Why did I throw away the key? I beg your pardon? You say a painting told you? You could see perplexity on the maiden's face. You had never seen her make such an expression before. I know nothing of any key. So she wasn't the one to throw it. Okay. Oh, master, you should not tell jokes meant to cause other discomfort. So she's either lying or she wasn't the one to throw it away. Interesting. But a talking painting, you say. You seem to have a rather vivid imagination. Maybe you can tell the next tale, master. I'm only teasing. Now, that was a nice break, but we should get moving. The tale I'm about to show you is the last of the mentioned memory. Ah, I knew it! Last door. I'm certain you will remember yourself after seeing it. To our feet. The final door is not far. And please, do not let go of my hand. Holding your hand, the maid led you to the far end of the room. Okay, I'm ready. This door is probably about me. I'm bound to remember who I am. Crossing beneath the stained glass window, a metal door came into view. Our destination lies at the top of the stairs. There we'll find one last door. She pushed open the metal door, revealing a long, long spiral staircase. Wow. Spiral staircase. It will be a bit of a walk, so let us be on our way. And please, do watch your step. This is called an observation tower. Normally, towers such as these were built in castles or churches, so it is rather strange for it to be one in the mansion. The last door I wish to show you, master, resides at the top of this tower. Rectangular windows were carved out of the stone in several locations along the way up the spiral staircase. You attempted to peer out of one of the windows, but all you could see was a thick layer of fog. Perhaps the master's suggestion that the mansion did not presently reside in reality was, in fact, correct. With each step upward, you found yourself gripped by an indescribable sense of anxiety. The feeling somewhat resembled irritation or annoyance. Sensing this, the maid tightly gripped your hand. There is nothing to worry about. You will be fine. It is all in the past. No matter what may happen, so long as you don't let go of my hand, you have nothing to fear. You and the maid continued climbing the stairs. Up and up, around and around, marching ever nearer the supposed final door. High up into the tower, as the light from below drew distant, a rotten wooden door came into view. Patches of what appeared to be blood stained the surface, and holes had been bored into it with a sharp object of some sort. You heard a scream from below, where no one should have been. Wow. Kill the witch, kill the witch, kill the witch. Burn her, burn her, burn her. You were struck with fear. The next moment, the maid opened the door, and then you slowly descended into darkness. The fourth door. Oh my god. Oh, that's an earliest we can get. 1099. My god, this is as early as we can get. We're going back to the beginning. Set on a pot, set it on, and also pour water into it. Gather the pieces thereof into it, even every good piece, the thigh and the shoulder. Fill it with the choice of bones. Take the choice of the flock and burn also the bones under it, and make it boil well and let them seethe the bones of its terrain. Thus saith the Lord. Woe to the bloody city, to the pot whose scum is the rain, and whose scum is not gone out of it. Bring it out piece by piece, let no lot fall upon it. The white-haired girl. Ha ha. She's laughing? Where is she? Where'd she go? She came down this way, I'm sure of it. Find her, and burn her. Burn the witch, burn the witch, burn the witch. Oh my god. What's happening? She's laughing. That's frightening. Then will I leave thee upon the land. I will cast thee forth upon the open field, and will cause all the fowls of the heaven remain upon thee. And I will fill the beasts of the whole earth with thee, and I will lay thy flesh upon the mountain, and fill the valleys with thy height. I will also water with thy blood the land, wherein thou swimmest, even to the mountains, and the rivers shall be full of thee. And when I shall put thee out, I will cover the heaven, and make the stars thereof dark. I will cover the sun with a cloud, and the moon shall not give her light. All the bright lights of heaven will I make dark over thee, and set darkness upon thy land. I seem to have lost them. Now where am I? Where should I go from here? What am I to do? Darkness spreads as far as the eye can see. Not a ray of light shines upon me. All that strokes my cheeks are tendrils of darkness. Every passing day, every fading hour, my world is engulfed in ebony. There exists no kindness in this shadow, only solitude. I've lost track of how long I've been on the run, wandering aimlessly, lost, until I arrived at this dark forest. I no longer have anywhere to go. O Father, who art in heaven, I kneel to thee within my heart and ask thee of thy blessing. O Father, who art in heaven, I ask of thee to shine thy light upon me and show me the way. Please, have mercy upon my soul, O Father, who art in heaven. I do love thee dearly. Hallowed be thy name. Please show me the way. I may be shunned and persecuted, and I may have no place to go, but nevertheless I am unable to give up on life, to cast aside my hope. Wow. O Father, who art in heaven, please guide me unto salvation. O Father, who art in heaven, please guide me. I can no longer remember when my life became naught but running, when it became endless wandering in the dark. And now, when I reached the point where I've long since forgotten my hunger and thirst, my voice has become hoarse, my vision gone blurry, and my consciousness began sinking into hazy morass. That mansion appeared before me, wrapped in a morning fog that seemed to foretell rain. Okay, this is the white-haired girl, I'm assuming. Oh my. The mansion come into view like the world fading after a dream. It doesn't appear as though anyone lives here. All the windows are either boarded up or shuttered, as if it's long since been abandoned. A tower, which seems out of place in a personal residence, stands tall beside a mansion. The whole building seems as though it could disappear with the fog. It has an unwelcoming presence, freezing me up in my tracks. However, if this is where you have led me, then I shall follow your guidance. Having nowhere else to go, this mansion is my only salvation, the light that guides my way. And so I must have faith that no matter what I find, whether spirits or wild beasts dwell within these walls, this is where I will find peace. I don't know what happened to me there. Oh wow. Is anyone there? I guess it is abandoned. That makes sense. It would be more unusual for someone to be living in a house so deep in the woods, so far from civilization, like it's been forgotten to time. I can't imagine anyone spending their days here. I place my hand on the front door. What if I can't get in? I very much doubt I find anywhere else to stay, wandering around through the woods. If the door doesn't open, then I'll die out here in the forest. I've come to accept much, but I'm not ready to forfeit my life yet. Please open. The door is heavy, and though it seems to protest my attempts to enter, it still opens much easier than I was expecting. Oh, I remember that. I remembered when we gazed into the mirror and we saw this exact thing, right? When she entered the mansion and met the angel, I assume that was who he was. But we only saw a snippet of it. I guess this is the full story. I was worried over nothing. Looking in, I get the strangest impression light is being swallowed up into the mansion depths. Rather than going inside, it feels as though I'm about to step outside the boundaries of this world. Oh. When I close the door, it's so dark I can't even tell where I'm walking. I wonder if the window's open. Though I manage to fumble my way over to the window, it's tightly shuttered and the shutters are caked with rust. I'm probably not getting it open without a fight. If only I had some source of light. I can't even see my hand waving in front of my face. It feels like the floor will fall out from under me and I'll sink into eternal darkness if I don't watch my step. Fighting back the fear, I slowly walk forward. Fighting back that fear, I slowly walk forward, tracing the wall with my hand. There's a door at the end of the long corridor. I pull it open, and a wisp of bone-chilling air brushes past me. It's too dark to see anything, but I can feel something different present in this area than the rest of the house. Uneasiness grips me. Is anybody there? Anybody here? My voice simply disappears into the void. No response. As I'm pushing forward through the freezing air, for a split second, I spot a shimmer of light. Squinting my eyes, I'm able to make out a large window. Unlike the others, it's not shuttered, but covered by drapes. My chances are slim, I imagine, but if there's even slight possibility of getting some light in here, it's worth a shot. So I pull open the drapes. The next moment, faint but colorful light shines down on me. It's a stained glass window. From beyond the glass, I can hear the subtle pitter-patter of rain. I guess it finally started. The different colors of light blend into a milky white, dim but wondrous. It's gorgeous. Why would someone cover this up? It's beautiful. With a little more light, it'd be... Please do not touch the drapes. Or the windows. Suddenly, I hear a voice, and I can sense someone else in the room. The man's voice is emotionless, neither deep nor high. Before long, he comes into view, illuminated by dull orange candlelight. There he is. Michael. I'm sorry for coming in uninvited, but I did announce myself. The man stands there, practically blending in with the darkness. Has he been there the whole time? He's staring straight at me. His gaze wavers slightly, but not enough for me to read anything in it. The candle in his hand and the light from the stained glass windows are the only illumination in the room, neither of which are particularly bright. As a result, his outline is faint and blurred. It gives off the impression that he might vanish entirely between blinks. My apologies. I assumed the house was abandoned. I suppose you would have preferred it to be abandoned. Not at all. Is this... do you live in this mansion? Yes, I have, for a very long time. I thought I'd barred up the front door, but it would seem I left it open. What brings you here? If you're lost, I'm happy to give you directions. There's a village west of here. It should take you half a day on foot. If you're in need of money, help yourself to some of the furniture. Trade it for food at the village, then make your way to a larger town. Please allow me to stay here. Could you repeat that? I cannot go to the village. No, I cannot go anywhere. I am no longer able to freely return to any town. I'm being hunted. You seem rather young to be a sinner. So you have transgressed. I am neither a thief nor an adulterer. If I bear any sin, then it has been with me since birth. I will do everything I can do to stay out of your way. I simply ask that you grant me shelter until it all blows over. If you wish to know my transgression, I will tell you. So please, do not throw me out. I see. And do you ask this of me aware of how people refer to this mansion? Pardon? It is said that a witch once lived in this house. And not just any witch, a cursed witch. This house had been tainted by her seething hatred, and all who dwell within it meet their demise. But you live here, don't you? Like her, I too am cursed. Huh? What kind of curse? It's so weird to see the white-haired girl speaking so formally. I mean, nonchalantly. I'm just used to her being so kind. But I guess she's the original one, she's the first one. The one thing I can tell you is that your life is in danger if you get involved with me. Should you approach my curse, I am likely to take your life. You'll kill me. Yes, so you do not belong here. To live with me in this mansion is to sentence yourself to death. No matter what path I choose, I very much doubt I have a future. And if that's the case, then I shall live how I want. I don't care what people say about you, or this mansion. I wish to stay here. You might think I'm rather strange, but my heart tells me that I must stay here, that I was guided here, and hearing what you have to say only reinforces that. What are you scheming? I'm not scheming anything. I'm simply tired of running, so if your curse is going to kill me, then perhaps that's for the best. At the very least, you won't be hunting me. You won't be trying to flay me or tear off my arms or rip the flesh of my bones, and that's enough for me. If you have committed no sin, then why do they hunt you so fervently? I am accused of being a witch. Master, please wake up, return to me. Ah, have you come too, Master? I apologize for sending you through the door without warning. I must have given you quite a scare. But I beg your forgiveness. I heard a terrible scream from down the stairs and I panicked. You say you saw the white-haired girl. I see, so you made it into the world beyond the door before me. I am deeply relieved that I was able to take your hand before losing sight of you. I presumed you have already grown familiar with the atmosphere of this time period, Master. If you have seen her, as you said, then you should have a basic grasp of the situation. She was a very misfortunate girl in this area, accused of being a witch, abused and persecuted. Her life was in constant danger. It was, again, her appearance that brought this upon her. That snow white hair and those ruby red eyes clearly differentiate her from everyone else. Oh, and I apologize, I neglected to mention that this door is unique. As for what sets it apart, that will be made clear as we proceed. The one difference is in the time period. The tales I've shown you began with that of beautiful flaxen-haired family, followed by the tale of a bloodthirsty beast, and then the tale of skill and ambition, proceeding in chronological order. However, the door we just entered takes us to the period now known as the Middle Ages, long before the other three tales. Yes, that is correct. This is where it all began. The mansion curse, the truth of the witch, and your identity. All of this should be made known. If, after this tale, you are still unable to reclaim your old self, then there is nothing more I can do. This door contains the last tale I'm able to tell you. So I ask of you, please do not let go of my hand until it is all over. Now then, let us begin a beautiful, tragic love story of two solitary souls trapped in a mansion of darkness. In that era, the mansion was a dungeon draped in darkness. After a great deal of time on the run, the white-haired girl found herself at a remote mansion that stood in the dark, overgrown forest. All the windows were either boarded or shuttered, and it was even darker inside the house than out. Not even a ray of moonlight could enter those walls. Only naturally the white-haired girl had assumed that nobody lived there. But her guess was incorrect. Someone did indeed dwell in the house. It was a young man named Michael. Though she could not make out the details of his face in the candlelight, she thought of him a very handsome man. By the way, it can be Michel. I guess I'm kind of reading this incorrectly. However, he proclaimed to her that a witch resided within the mansion, and that he too was cursed. Everyone who got close to him lost their lives. Do you think that what he told her was all nonsense? A lie devised to chase her out of the house? The truth of the matter shall come to light in time. Despite, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Michelle's. I'm pretty sure I read this incorrectly. I just thought it was like the angel. Or it could be like Michael or something. I have no idea how to read this. You know what? I'm gonna read it as, you know, Michelle, because I think this is the correct one. Despite Michelle's assertion, the white-haired girl decided she would take up residence within the mansion. Or I guess it is Michael, because I know I'm so torn about it. This area white-haired girl was younger than the others. She was still in her early teens, young enough to be seen as still a child. She was neither as self-centered nor irresponsible as you might expect of someone her age. She was very delicate and reserved and acted with a great deal of modesty and restraint. The accusation of her being a criminal and a sinner were grossly inappropriate. Nevertheless, she was still chased from her home, barely managing to flee to this mansion with her life. Now, the white-haired girl thought it would be rude to simply take up space in the mansion, so she chased down the master, I guess, yeah, Michelle, and asked, is there anything I can do to help? I will clean or cook or do anything, just let me know. I want to repay you for allowing me to stay here. You did not feel indebted to me. The weight of that obligation will only turn into disdain. But I can't just stay here and do nothing. Do whatever you like, as long as you do not enter my room. That is all I ask of you. He said emotionally, turning away and walking off. Michelle was not, I believe, spurning her. He was merely disinterested. He did not treat her disrespectfully, nor did he seem averse to her presence. Words simply did not seem to affect him at all. Not only was the mansion a prison for his body was also a prison ensnaring his heart. I should still do whatever I can. But she did not let that get her down. In fact, she might have even interpreted her disinterest as kindness. Though he has been a bit standoffish, he did not attempt to cause her harm. He was nothing like the people who had accused her of being a witch and forced her to flee for her life. And when she was deeply grateful for that, thus began their quiet life together. Michelle, who avoided contact with others, and the white-haired girl, who had taken a great deal of abuse from others. Two people who knew hardly anything about one another, who were too distant to really be said to be living together. Michelle spent most of his day in his chambers, so they only ever saw each other occasionally, and they hardly ever spoke. Though they stayed in the same house, they both lived solitary lives. Nonetheless, the white-haired girl wanted to get to know Michelle better. She wanted to know why he called himself cursed, why he lived alone in this dark mansion. How many days, how many years he had spent here in solitude. And while she waited for the opportunity, she also started doing things around the house. The first project she set to take care of was cleaning. Windows were all firmly shut. Her only source of light was candles. For whatever reason, there was a great deal of candles stored in the cellar. She wondered where on earth he had acquired so many, but she never found the opportunity to ask him. It was difficult to even see all the dust and cobwebs with only candlelight, and considering the poor airflow through the house, she was afraid her efforts were going to be in vain. She persisted, sweeping and wiping things down, one room at a time. Eventually, she made her way to the library. The dust that had been settled there was much heavier than in any other room. With each breath, she had to fight back coughs. It was not a room one would normally be comfortable spending much time in, but the sight of so many bulky volumes lining the shelves sent her heart aflutter with delight. Books? Incredible, real books. The white-haired girl had never seen a book before. She had heard people describe them, but that was the first time she had ever seen one for herself. Parchment was a very valuable commodity in the era. It was something monks or scholarly priests made use of, and not a material one could easily acquire without some degree of social rank. Books were not printed with machines, but copied by hand. A single volume took an incredible amount of work to create. Even the process of binding was an art. Standing before the shelf, she stared intently at the spines. There's so much dust. Does he not read any of them? Just a peek, just a tiny little peek, she said, making excuses to the empty room as she reached her hand towards one of the books. The tome that caught her eye was on the upper shelf. It bore gorgeous jade embossing and looked like it belonged to in a treasure chest. Nah, almost. Though she tended to act older than her age, the white-haired girl was still in her early teens and not especially tall. Even standing tiptoe, it was still just barely within reach. Ah! At long last, her slender fingers made contact with a spine and began to pull the books towards her. And I guess it's gonna fall? The library had sat abandoned for some time, causing the covers to stick together, so when she attempted to pull one out, several others tilted with it, and then almost all the books on the shelf came avalanching down onto her. So this is what we saw at the library. In the vision. The white-haired girl groaned, buried under a mountain of parchment. She hoped she had not damaged any of her host's valuable collection, for the mess was enough of a setback already in her attempt to express her gratitude. Looking around, she saw one volume that was almost torn in half. She did not know whether it was in that condition before, or it had happened in the fall, but nonetheless she felt horribly guilty. Sitting there, unable to get back to her feet, tears began welling in her eyes. Then suddenly a shadow fell over the dejected girl. It took a book in its hand and returned it to the shelf. For a brief moment, the shadow hand reached hesitantly towards the white-haired girl, then changed course towards another book. Ah, it was Michel. There was a hint of perplexity in his otherwise emotionless eyes. Perhaps he had heard the noise and come to see what had caused it. I'm so sorry, your books, What were you doing? I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to make a mess. I didn't mean to damage such precious books. There's no need to panic. I'm sorry. You make it sound as though I'm admonishing you. What? Did you want to read a book? I do, but that's not what I originally came here to clean. Clean? Yes, I felt guilty for simply being idle. I did say you could do as you pleased, but you have no responsibility to clean anything. I just ended up making a bigger mess anyway. I'm sorry. You need to apologize. Oh, okay. If you want to read, help yourself to read through any of the books. But I don't know how to read. I just thought the cover was pretty, so I wanted to hold it. You're free to use them however you wish. If looking at them is enough for you, by all means. These are all your books, aren't they? They are. That's incredible. You have so many. It must have taken you a long time to acquire them all. 1 per month. What? My family sends me one every month. Every month? The white-haired girl turned her gaze back towards the shelf, squinting her eyes and beginning to count. When she finished, she was in awe. There were in excess of 100 books on the shelf, which meant he had lived there in solitude for many years. She was at a loss for words. They're dull tomes, definitely inoffensive and not even interesting enough to waste a few hours with. Decoration is all they're good for. I see. If you can put them to some use, then perhaps my having them won't be entirely meaningless anymore. I'm going to return to my room. Don't feel obligated to clean up. Just a minute. Was there something else? Could you tell me your name? I just realized I never asked you for your name. Not knowing what to call you will make conversation awkward. You don't need my name to... I want to, though. It skipped automatically, by the way. Michelle. Michelle. Like the Archangel. Oh, so it is like Michael. Okay. So Michelle is more correct, I guess. Or we can call him Michael. But I guess Michelle is kind of what I'm used to. The name suits you quite well. It suits me. It does. Although it's difficult to see you in the dark, you seem to be a very handsome man. Ooh, befitting of your name. He is indeed. I beg to differ. Giving me his name is the highest form of mockery. I expect the real Archangel is probably rather annoyed by it. I don't know. I think it's a wonderful name. And your... No, never mind. Oh, my name. My name is... Oh! Oh my god, we actually know? Oh my god, that is crazy. How do you pronounce it though? Giselle, I assume? Only makes sense. Only makes sense. Wow, we actually know her name. Wow. Finally, after so long. Please call me Giselle. Oh, thank godness. For what? That I was able to get your name and talk to you for a little bit. We haven't seen much of each other since I first arrived, so I'm glad I got to hear your voice. So very glad. You gain nothing by speaking to me. You have no responsibility to do so, and there is no need for you to feel joy about it. I am not pleased out of some sense of responsibility or necessity. It's just depressing and not be able to have conversation with someone living in the same house. You do not understand me at all. As I said on the first day, my curse will one day kill you. But I'm still alive, aren't I? You are welcome to believe I'm lying, or that I'm merely out of my mind. But it will be too late when you realize the truth. I'll be fine, I'm sure. And even if I do die because of your curse, I promise I won't hold a grudge. Could you possibly be keeping away from me out of concern? No, I simply have no interest in interacting with anyone. I would like to interact with you. If you don't mind, that is. As I told you, you have nothing to gain from that. I have nothing, not even words to give you. My body is but a shell. Even if I were not cursed, my presence would do naught but to cause you discomfort. I don't think that's true. I don't believe that there's anyone in the world with absolutely nothing. There's plenty inside you. You simply haven't noticed it yet. And not all of it will only cause others pain either. If you truly believe those words, then you're a foolhardy girl. How can you trust someone you only just met? For that matter, how do you not resent everyone? Resent them? I can take a guess to why people call you witch and why you had to flee all the way to this mansion. Whether your white hair and red eyes, that's abnormal, seemingly inhuman appearance through their condemnation. And I can think of any number of reasons they might have started treating you less than human. Perhaps people around you experienced misfortune, or perhaps there was a natural disaster, a famine, a plague, some kind of external phenomenon, and you were the scapegoat. Yes, you are, and by and large, correct. then that would make me as unworthy of your trust as anyone else. I make no claim to having your interest in mind. Goodbye. If you don't mind, could you teach me how to read sometime? Did you listen to anything I said? I listened, yes. I have no intention of idolizing you. I don't expect you to do anything for me, and I don't wish to burden you in any way. I simply wish to be allowed to be at your side. It does not matter to me what kind of person you may be. That is all I want. I apologize for keeping you. Please consider it, if not too much trouble. As the master of the house, Michel was made his way out of the library. He appeared to be slightly rattled. Perhaps the white-haired girl's determination had ignited something in his chained heart. Or perhaps it was something else. She stared toward the darkness into which Michel had disappeared. Damn, I'm still not sure really how to call him. I know it's like Mikhail, but I can't pronounce it every single time. I guess we'll call him Michael. I guess maybe. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But Michelle seemed more correct. Then she carefully wrapped her arms around the jade-embossed tome, a soft smile spreading across her lips. So you know what? I am going to call him Michael. I think it's just way fair towards a man figure. He's a decent man, I'm sure of it. Oh, okay. We're alike, he and I. And thus began to blossom within her a faint sense of fellowship, as someone who also knew solitude. And that will be the end for today's video. I feel like we've covered a lot. That is super interesting. This is literally the beginning of the end. And I'm super excited for it. The story seems really good so far. And I really hope we're gonna get every single answer. I'm pretty sure it's gonna take me 3 more episodes to finish. But yeah, we're coming to a close. This game is fantastic and I can't wait to continue. By the way, I'm sorry if you cringed of me not knowing how to call him. I know it's pronounced like Michael, like the angel, but I don't want to say it every single time. So I'm just gonna call him Michael. I kind of went back and forth. Didn't really know how to call him at first. But after it became clear, I'm just gonna call him Michael. So that's pretty much it. But yeah, that's the end for today's video. And I hope you get to see you guys on the next one. But that's all for now. So thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll catch you on the next one.